Welcome to the Hold My Spot podcast. My name is Ethan.
And I'm Matt.
This is a very special episode today because we have a very special guest. We've got Ray Terry here with us.
Yes.
Ray, why don't you do a quick introduction for yourself and let people know what you've been up to.
My name is Ray Terry. I'm in the band Kill the Fall, and I'm the owner of RTSC Training Center. And basically, we just have a new single out, Let It Breathe, that came out last month, and then we have another one coming out June 5th. So it's kind of doing like the media tour for it. So
Yeah.
Thanks for making us stop with us.
hell yeah,
We appreciate you've been a busy guy lately.
a little bit.
And
Yeah.
We're excited about the new music that the band's putting out. So Kill the Fall is the band that you're in now.
Correct.
But when we think about where you started, it goes back to about 1998. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
And what was the name of that band?
Allergic To Whores.
A little controversial.
It was.
I know what you're getting at.
Yeah. It was,
Not everybody caught that.
Yeah, we had a little bit of problems when we were coming up touring with that band name, but so that band started in 1998, and we were active from 98 to about 2002.
Okay.
2003, and we ended right in 2002. We did the Warped Tour, and that was pretty much the end of Allergic To Whores.
Yeah.
So it was a good run. That was fun.
Yeah, I can see the Warped Tour as being an amazing experience, but also pretty trying too.
It was. It was different. So it was, you had to get up, and you actually had to get up pretty early, and you got to get to, get your list of where you're at, what stage you're on, where that stage is, set up your merchandise booth, go through, get your, know your time slot, get ready for your load in and your unload. But it was great. They provided food and alcohol.
Yeah. What else could you ask for?
Yeah, really, it was a great experience, and got to meet a lot of really cool bands, really cool people, and it was just a great experience. But yeah, it was tiring. Because you're, if you're responsible, maybe you would go to bed early because you had to be up early. But no, we stayed up and did our thing, and then we'd have to be on the road traveling to the next. A lot of these bands had buses and stuff like that. We were just ourselves in a van, so we had to drive ourselves to the next venue and get up and get our load in times and everything else, and do it all over again the next day.
You're the driver. You're the merch guy. You're the
I wasn't really the driver at that point. We had a driver, and we had somebody that ran merch, so we were lucky enough to have that. But we're still cramped in a van, so it was pretty tight quarters and
get to know everybody a lot better.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Whether you want to or not.
Right.
So, in that band, y'all really cut your teeth in the Cleveland punk scene in the 90s and the 2000s.
Yeah.
You've got this unique perspective, being able to see it change as technology has changed. We were just talking about this a bit off camera.
Yeah.
The way that music is distributed has changed. The way it's promoted has changed. The way that fans and musicians interact is completely changed. We now know the term parasocial relationship. We didn't even know it then because it wasn't possible.
Yeah.
Right? When you think about the Cleveland punk scene, what have you seen change the most over the last?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm not, as of right now, all that tapped into the Cleveland punk scene. Like I was kind of telling you guys already, when I got back into this, which was last year, right? We first started deciding to write. I met with the producers, and we kind of had the game plan of the layout of how we wanted to go about this and what kind of sound we were looking for and what we were looking to do and the goals and that type of thing. And we started doing that. But before that, there was a short little stint in 2018 that we wrote and recorded an EP, but we didn't play.
Yeah.
We didn't go out into the scene. We didn't make friends or anything like that. So before that, anytime that we were actually active in the music scene was 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So, those God knows where half those people are.
Yeah.
Now. So I know there is a really cool group of people like Beast Killer and Death Weapons and bands like that were in bands back when I was in Allergic To Whores, and they were in their other bands that they came up with, and we're kind of helping each other out, or at least they're helping me out.
Great.
I know that much. Like they're saying, hey, if you guys want to get on this show, you want to get on that show. So it's kind of getting our toes back in it a little bit with their help of doing that. Like we have a show coming up, I was telling you, June 15th, and that's with Death Weapons. Eric is a great friend of mine, and I'm just lucky enough that he's, you know, likes the band and says, hey, let's do a show. Other than that, we'd be pretty lost. As far as the media end of it, we're doing well, and things are really like moving fast, and I wouldn't say blowing up, but like gaining traction, really getting some momentum going, because we have a great team behind us with, you know, this company, the publicist For the Win. Her name's Jamie, and she's doing an amazing job of just knowing, you know, the markets and getting us out in front of people and different interviews and different things to really get that social media presence going and try to build that up before we start hitting the road and doing any kind of touring and stuff like that. But as far as Cleveland goes, I mean, to answer that question, I really don't know.
I guess we're gonna see.
Yeah,
we're gonna find out. You know what I mean?
Find out on June 15th.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't even. There's been a couple bands that just by like surfing the internet and stuff like that, or whatever they call it now, it's still called the internet, right?
The
World
face
Wide
space.
Web.
Yeah. So like,
Instabook.
yeah, and I'll see those bands and like I'm like, man, that's a cool band. They're from Cleveland. Hopefully we could play with them at some point. But I don't know them. I don't know, you know, and I really don't reach out to them because like, well, you know, for what? I don't know who they are. So
Yeah.
they don't know who the hell I am, and I'm sure they're young enough to not know who Allergic To Whores was at the time. You know, even though we had a great run, half those, you know, the kids nowadays probably don't know who that band was. You know, so we're gonna find out. I mean, hopefully, you know, hopefully they like what we're doing and enjoy it. So.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, that's another thing that I've noticed that's changed. It's not so many local openers on some of the bigger touring acts that are coming to Cleveland anymore.
Very true.
I mean, most of the shows that we go to, even at like Mayhall's or the Grog Shop, those are all bands that are touring together. So when I was working with bands, we were always trying to get on a show with a local band that had a bigger draw. And
Same.
it just doesn't seem like it's like that anymore.
You can't. So there's been some shows that you know, this is before we had the publicist and before anything started like moving in a good direction. So maybe it'll be a little bit different. But I know that different people in the music industry, even from Cleveland, told me it's really hard because most touring bands have their package.
Yeah.
And that's it. And they don't even, because they're all, like we were talking about earlier, all these smaller clubs and things are getting bought up by these bigger organizations. They say no openers. This is the package deal. They come in, they play these 3 bands. There's no opening acts and none of that. So I really don't know how bands these days are getting themselves in front of anybody, because I agree. Back when Allergic To Whores was coming up, you know, we play, you know, at the Blind Lemon with, you know, Against All Authority or some of these bands that were coming through, we would get the opening spots, or we played the Grog Shop back when it was the old Grog Shop, and we played for the Unseen. You know, it was great shows, hundreds of kids there, and those kids see us and they're like, oh man, this is a good band. But you know, if we have to do it the way we did it before, that, you know, in other cities, when we were touring, we played for 2 or 3 people.
Yeah,
You know?
we had that same experience.
And then the next time you come back, there's 10.
Yeah.
And then, you know, so you just keep building on that. And I have no problem doing that. If we have to play for, there's just a handful of people and then come back, and then that's what we'll do. You know what I mean? It's just nothing worth having comes easy. So
Yeah,
for sure.
if we got to bust our ass for it, let's go.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
That's exciting that you're at the point where you're just ready to start hitting it again.
Yeah. I mean, it helps that there was a long, big gap of not being in music at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, some people have asked me, even people in the music industry or bands that are not in the music industry anymore, but were in bands back when I was, they're like, man, you're still doing it, huh? How are you still doing it? I'm like, well, I hadn't done it for probably over 15 years or some shit like that.
Probably in that period, though, you made you realize how much you loved it, though.
That's what sparked this, you know, return or comeback, whatever you want to call it. It was just because I really did realize a couple things. One, I missed it. I got to a point when I missed playing in front of people and doing shows. I missed writing, and because I wasn't really writing. I just, you know, I'd play the guitar you know, here and there, but I wasn't writing music. So I miss that outlet of writing and playing shows and like, you know, writing something, creating something, and then giving it to people
Yeah.
and seeing their reaction to it. And then, you know, it's also, I kind of had, and a lot of people will see even with this single, there's things that I didn't do that I wished I did do. I never did an acoustic record. I never did, you know, a full production the way I think the music should sound produced. A lot of stuff I had done was good recordings, but never like what I thought was to the full potential of what it could be. And we never did that. It really started with the acoustic EP because I never did anything with just me and a guitar, and I wanted to do that. So that was kind of the first thing that happened when it came to working with these two producers, which are amazing. It was, hey, I want to do an acoustic record, and they actually heard some of the live stuff because Ryan, one of the producers, heard us practicing, and Bob is in LA, Bob Marlette, who is like, both those guys, they're so talented. And they heard the heavy stuff, you know, with the full band, and they said, hey, we want to do that too. And we just ended up working on everything together.
That's awesome.
So the acoustic stuff started first, and that was happening because it's easier. It's just me and a guitar, so I can on my
as many
schedule.
takes as you need to.
Yeah, and not only that, but like on my schedule, I can go in whenever I like. Hey, it's a Tuesday at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
You want to record? Yeah, I can do it. Okay, cool. Whereas like, you know, Spiro, our bass player, is a lawyer, so have fun. You know, getting out of it. You
Figure out
can't
his
just tell a
schedule.
guy you're not going to be at court because you have to record a record.
Yeah, I don't think that'll work.
And Dustin has a full-time job too, so not that I don't have a full-time job.
Right.
Running the gym is a fucking full-time
Right.
job.
Plus.
But I control the schedule more than they can. So we started doing the acoustic stuff, and as that was working, I'm working on that. We started pre-production for the full band, the heavier stuff, and it was nice. You know, we went in and we started with like 4 songs, and we dwindled that down to 2 before we even started laying anything down in for real takes.
Okay.
And the pre-production, this is something else I've never done. I've obviously, you know, writing, rehearsing over and over until you feel you got it right. But there, excuse me, there's something to be said for going in with a producer, recording the song, and then hearing the mix and going, okay, we need this. Could be this, but it could be better here. This can be moved here. It to the point where one song we scrapped the entire song.
Oh wow.
Because we went through and we kept I kept like, I would hear it and I'm like, I don't like it. So I'd go back and I rewrite a part, I bring it to the band, and then it got to that point and we would record it and then, you know, sit with the producer and listen to it. And I don't like this, and he had an idea, and we even got to a point where I was singing vocals on it. You know, we're in the studio, laying vocal tracks down, and then one day I came to practice. I go, hey, you know that song? They're like, yeah. I'm like, I fucking don't like that song. And they're kind of like, yeah, it's kind of a mess. It's just like all these pieces. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, it's out of here. So that one just got totally scrapped, and then, next thing you know, within minutes, there's a new one written.
So,
but it's just like boom, because you're not overthinking things. But it's all part of the pre-production of, you know, maybe back in the day that song would have went in because that was just one of the only songs we had. Yeah, exactly. So it's this way. I know it sounds like, doesn't sound punk, but it's more of a professional way.
Sure.
Not more. It's a professional way to go about it rather than just, here, let's write some songs, let's record them exactly the way they are, no overdubs, no, you know, just boom, go. I mean, no pre-production, rewriting or anything, just go. This one, it was a lot more of, hey, let's take our time, because, you know, when I talked to Bob and Ryan, this thing I said to them, they're like, well, what's your goal? I said, my goal is I want to make the best record that I've ever made.
That's awesome.
And that's the most punk thing, doing what you want to do the way you want to do it.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of, you know, I mean, you guys were I'm sure we're similar in age. Back in the day, it was like, you know, you're not punk if you do this.
Right,
You know,
yeah, you're not
there's
wearing
a
the
Blink
right
182 fucking
Yeah, I know,
thing right
that's
there.
not
And then
punk,
back in the
right?
day, that
Yeah.
wouldn't be punk.
Punk,
I
right.
think they're great. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? The fucking drummer is one of the best drummers of all time.
Of all time. Across genres.
Right, but really, what punk really is just saying, "Fuck you, I'm gonna do what I want."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Like what I want to do is what I'm gonna
Yeah.
do, and if you don't like it, whatever. I don't care, right? Because that's
Yeah.
really what punk should be. It's just the attitude of I don't care.
Mhm.
I'm gonna do what I want, and I don't care what you think. If you like it, great. If you don't, fuck off. I
Right.
don't care. You know what I mean? But
totally
somewhere
agree
in
with that.
there, there were so many rules. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
So many.
and we were in it. Like we were touring. Like, you know, the underground scene. We toured. I mean, I'd argue that we toured probably more than any band from Cleveland. We were on. You know, we were out for a month or two at a time minimum. That's all we
Wow,
did.
that's
We didn't
awesome.
really play Cleveland that much because we were always on the road,
Yeah.
constantly on tour. But you know, it's you run into that whole like, you know, when I was on the last podcast last week, I talked to Kendall about the same thing, and I said, you know, there are people that would give us shit because at one point we got to a point where we could have a guarantee.
Oh, it's
You know what I
insane.
mean? And they're like,
It's insane.
well, you're a punk band.
You sold out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, these
Totally
are
sold out by-
conversations that I would have
By
with
being
people.
able to do what you love,
Right.
making a little bit of money.
Right.
You're
Freaking
a
Green
seller.
Day
Yeah.
over here.
I know, right? It's like God forbid I'm able to actually get to the next show
Yeah.
and have a little bit
Fill
of
up
food.
your tank with gas.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Bunch of jerks.
So yeah,
Want
so
gas money.
at the end of the day, you know, that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to make the best record that I could, and had something I could look back at and be like, that is the best that I could possibly do. And these producers really are like bringing that out of, like, that's something I never had somebody produce a record with me. It was always just, we go in, I would produce it, so you know, I knew how I wanted it to be and this type of thing. But they're really able to pull, especially on the vocal end of things, like they're pulling things out of me that, you know, I didn't even think I was able.
Well,
to
they're
do.
probably going measure by measure, telling you what
Yeah.
to, you know, do a little bit differently
Yep.
and make it sound better. Where you probably weren't thinking that precisely
Right.
in the creative process.
Not only that, but I'm in it, right? So I'm singing it,
Yeah.
and you know, I really rely on Ryan while we're laying these tracks down. You know, he'll say, "Hey, you're off key there. Let's redo that one."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay," you know what I mean? It's like, because why keep it in there if it's not, you know,
Yeah.
dead on? And there's been stuff that I've done in the past that it's not been dead on, and you know, at the time I was like, "Fuck it, I don't care." You know what I mean, I'm just gonna go scream into a microphone and have, you know, a really cool punk record and be done with it. But that's not what I wanted to do with this.
Yeah,
I
that's
wanted
part
to
of the
have,
evolution.
yeah,
It's
and,
really
I'm,
cool.
you know, I mean, I've grown, and I want to make, I want to be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
And you can't do that if you just keep doing the same shit over and over, right? I don't want to make those records that I already made. I want to make something different, and it's going to test me, push me to my limits, and trust me, there's times it pushed me, right? We're in the studio, and I'm sure Ryan, if he was here, would say the same thing. He could see it. I'm like, man, I'm getting agitated, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he just kept pushing, and we got in what I think, and Bob and Ryan agree, it's the best version of Kill the Fall.
Yeah.
Hands down.
That's great.
You know what I mean? Because it was the same with drummers too. You know what I mean? Like, we went in and did the drums, and you know, we pushed to have the best. Like, we were well rehearsed, and when we did those drums, we practiced over and over, and we knew exactly like what fill. Before we go in and practice, we didn't, you know, pay as much attention. Like, the fills could change from time to time,
Yeah.
whatever. This one was, you know, the producer was like, listen, you need to lock in the fill that you're gonna do, and make sure you have that down. And we did, and it's tight, man.
That's great.
It sounds really good.
Well, it's awesome you have people you can rely on in the studio to give you an outside perspective, and then you guys in the band, it sounds like you don't really have, like, you're not ego driven on, this is what I want, I'm just going to do what I want, I don't care. So I think that's really going to help make this the best album, like you said.
100%. And if I'm being honest, and I'm sure if the rest of the band was here, they would definitely chime in. In the past, I did have I want it done this way, and it's my way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you have to evolve and learn from your mistakes. And I look back on some of the records, and I feel, maybe if I had somebody else giving some insight, maybe it could have been a little bit better. maybe not, maybe, but this one I know I want to have somebody else there to give some cues on what things could be better and how they could push. And like I said, it's really about pushing the best out of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think vocally I've ever. Actually, I'm not gonna say I don't think. I know vocally I've never been pushed to have this much into my vocals. Usually, you've heard the stuff before. Usually, it's a lot of just, for the most part, just a good strong yell and get in there. This one, there's a lot more singing than just yelling into a mic.
And related to that, getting back into writing lyrics, what's that been like? Was that like the first time really putting pen to paper? Was that happening in the hiatus, or?
So a lot of stuff. I just have a big, huge book that I just write in constantly. So I never stopped writing words. Whatever I'm feeling, things that would like come up from my past and that those different type of things I would always write.
Yeah.
So like when it came to I would just look through the book, and when I saw certain things, like those are things that I was drawn from, and then I could just start playing and really I travel still. I've always traveled, obviously in the band Allergic To Whores. We traveled constantly. Like I said, we were on the road for a month or 2 months minimum at a time. We thought 2-week tour was like, what are you doing? It's not a tour.
It's not a tour.
It's just a little, couple shows here and there.
Yeah.
So now I'm on the road a lot, not as much as that, but at least once a month with jiu-jitsu tournaments and going out and competing or coaching and all that. So I have time, and we drive. I'm not a big flying guy, so I drive to Vegas or Texas or Florida or whatever.
Damn.
Yeah, I enjoy it. That's where I came from.
Ethan
Right.
does that. You and I are kindred souls.
Yes. So I just throw the guitar in the truck, and we go. And not every time, but sometimes I'll bring the guitar with me, and it gives me a chance at the hotel and have some downtime to write some stuff. And
that's awesome.
Some of the songs were, on this acoustic one, were written, just out on the road.
Yeah.
In the hotel by myself, just fiddling around with the guitar.
It's cool. You have that time that you can spend on that.
Yeah. And that's why I like, a lot of times I like driving too. Is not just time to write with the guitar, but you have that time to think when you're just driving down the road. A lot of, you can think about a lot of things, and a lot of those ideas, believe it or not, come out while we're just driving. I'm like, oh, that's a lyrical idea or a harmony or something like that that I like, and then that's what now we have the cell phone, so just hit voice record and sing to your phone, and then turn it off, and you have it mapped out and ready to go.
Yeah. That long drive clarity, I can totally relate. And you mentioned there's like a point where you are satisfied with the output. Taste is very different for everybody, but I imagine there's certain things when you're listening back to your own band songs or other band songs where it's like, yes, that is good, or that's not good enough. When you're looking at a song, like what things are you focusing on more than others?
Well, with our own.
Yeah, I guess we can. Yeah, if it's different for both, I'd love to know.
Well,
both.
When it comes to everything from Kill the Fall, I'm happy with everything we've done because it's that moment, right? So like I know, sometimes I'll listen to like the 2008 full length record or 2005's EP Immortality Through Ashes, and I'm like, man, these are some really good songs. The recording quality could have been a little bit better, but man, there are some good songs. So it's not that anything I'm like, man, I just hate that. I'm happy with everything that we've done, and because I don't think it would have ever made it to a release if I wasn't happy with it.
Yeah.
But there's like little things that I know, and back then maybe I wouldn't have been able to sing what I would be able to like sing now, or maybe I wouldn't be able to have that in me to cross that barrier, of singing a certain way or doing things a certain way. So now when I look back at stuff that we've done, it's more looking at the time and what was happening, and like it's like
it's a time capsule.
There you go. Yeah. It's like a time capsule of what was going on. So when I listen to the 2008, full length, I know what was happening in my life at the time. Those lyrics remind me of what was happening to me in my relationships and in social interactions, and the recording of it. It brings back all those memories. Like I can literally still feel and like the feel and the smell of being in the studio when I recorded that record. You know, I mean, I know what we were doing. I know what the studio felt like and smelled like, and like everything that was going on, and I know what was going on in my life at that time. Same with Immortality Through Ashes. That's a whole different EP and a different studio and different time. You know, so every one of those are like a little time capsule for me. When I listen to other music, it's a lot of I focus a lot on lyrics.
Our shtick is I've never been much of a lyric guy. I always consider vocals as more of an instrument. You know, that's dovetailing really well with the guitar and the drums and the bass and all of that. But and then like for me the actual words are sort of secondary. Not that they're not important, but when I first listen to something, it's about the rhythm and the tone and all of that. And Ethan,
I thought I was in Matt's camp that the lyrics were secondary, and then I would be listening to these songs and realize that the lyrics were breaking the song for me because they weren't thematically consistent with the music. They were incongruous with each other. I realized like, oh, it's equally important then. It all needs to be not only of the same, the themes musically need to be the same, but emotionally and like the story we're telling needs to be consistent as well.
Right.
Found out I was a closeted lyrics guy.
Well, I will say this.
I tell my dad.
The way I do this, I mean, the way I view listening to music is, I'm with you in the first, like, the music has to draw you in.
Yeah.
That's to me there is no other way.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have good music, a good riff, a good hook, then you're never gonna get to the lyrics.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're just gonna go, this is no, right?
Yeah.
So the music has to draw you in, right? You know, that's got to be the first thing. But then to keep you and to get you connected to that song, and like have an emotional connection to the song, that's where the lyrics come in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of songs that are great music and have like decent lyrics, and you're like, man, it's a good song, cool. You know, I'll listen to it. I like the song. But the ones that really emotionally move you and get you connected are the ones, for me, that have the lyrics that touch something to you. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I know what that's like.
Yeah.
I know what he's talking about. I've been there. I felt that. And that's what sets certain bands over the edge for me.
Definitely.
I mean, it's like, man, you know, that's some bands lyrically are just like, they nail it for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then there's other bands that are just, they're good. I like them, and their lyrics are okay, but their music's great. And then it's like, okay, I like that band.
Yeah.
They're a good band, but you don't get that like, you know,
That real
that connection. Yeah. I think the lyrics are what gives you that real connection.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That might be the most insightful point we've ever had on this podcast.
Yeah, we're peaking right now. I love something you said earlier about when you're looking back on the music from 2008, like how much it genuinely captured the moment, and that feels like actually a great measure of a song. If it genuinely captures the moment that you're living in, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, like what more can a song do?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what those songs do for other people, and we never, you know, I don't write personally for for other people. I write for me first, so that it has to capture that moment in time for me. And then after that, whatever that does for anybody else, that's beautiful. It's great, but it's got to capture that for me first. And that's, if it doesn't, I mean, I have a pretty, you know, it's like a lot of obstacles that a song has to get through before it's done. But it's kind of the same thing. Like if I'm writing, it's the same thing I just said about listening to somebody else's song. When I'm writing, that first riff doesn't catch me. It never gets. We don't get past that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, boom, whatever that first riff is, if I don't like it, it doesn't even get to the band.
Yeah.
And then that first riff, the band likes it too. Okay, now we're on to something. And then it all can, you know. Then after the band puts their parts on it, and they say, yeah, you know, fuck yeah, I like that, and here's what I'm going to do on the drums, on the chorus, and a bridge, or whatever. once all that's done, then that's when it starts getting connected to me. So it's the same as if I'm listening to a song, right?
Yeah.
That I'm approaching my songs the same way I listen to another song. The music has to bring me in first, then I get connected to it with the words.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, a lot of times, I'll just write the hooks to gibberish. You know, what I mean, it's just like it's just like I'm just
nailed on the
humming
melody.
nonsense words
Yeah.
into a hook, and then I'll go through the book or I'll write, look for something that fits that nonsense I was yelling into the practice demo,
Mhm.
And then that's when it evolves from there, So I'm sure I know there's a term for it in recording and music, but I can't remember what it is, like word sing or something like that. I forget what
No, I've heard that's a very common writing method.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Like you can hear the melody in your head sometimes.
Yeah.
Because we're all just trying to write our favorite song, our own favorite song for ourselves. I
Yeah.
like the way you put that. Just to double back a little bit, curious about some bands you mentioned. Not to put you too much on the spot, but bands that maybe you've been listening to lately, or just bands that had lyrics that really resonated with you and the music hit as well.
of all time, like throughout.
Just whoever stands out,
I mean, obviously for me, lyrically, one of the big ones is Pearl Jam. That's like lyrically, from when I was. I mean, this goes back to when I was a teenager. You know, what I mean, like they came out when I was a teenager, a long time ago, and that the words, especially for that time and what I was going through and all that, the words really connected with me. Musically and lyrically too. Tool's another one.
Yeah.
Huge Tool fan. Gaslight Anthem. We're all at that show. They're another one that musically and lyrically I think are phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, as of right now, there's some stuff that people might be a little, not shocked, but like, oh really? Like Zach Bryan is another.
Oh,
sure,
dude,
yeah,
he's
great.
fantastic.
Yeah, very good.
I'm not a country music guy,
No,
but
neither am I.
he operates in this unique space between the Americana stuff and the country stuff, and
100%.
indie rock, and he's fantastic.
Yeah, and then there's just like musical guys that, lyrically, it maybe whatever, but sometimes like musically you're like, man, these guys are like, there's like crazy like people that are out now like Billy Strings is just
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's like I'm never doing that on guitar.
Yeah.
Ever.
It's amazing
ever.
how popular he is too.
Yeah.
Like it's so cool to see that.
And it's, and that's the thing too, like, I'm not even, again, going back to like what moves you when it comes to writing or playing, I'm just an average at best guitar player, I just play, and I guess that's where that punk thing comes out. I just play what I feel, I try to, get as much of just what I'm feeling into the guitar, and maybe it's, maybe not the most technical stuff in the world, but I think it has good hooks and good songwriting and stuff like that. But like a lot of the stuff that I listen to lyrically and musically that it really grabs me, a lot of it's like a lot of older stuff too, like Alice in Chains is another one. Their first album,
You can't go
Dirt,
wrong.
I don't think, it might be one of the best albums of all time. I mean, from start to finish, there's not a bad track on that, or even like Pearl Jam's Verses, it's stuff like that.
I was actually going to ask you if you could pick a Pearl Jam favorite album. Would Versus stand out? That's my personal favorite.
Man, that's tough because like what I felt as a teenager and what drew me in, everything we're talking about was 10, right?
Yeah. Should we do the album cover?
but like everything was like, lyrically and everything, that one means so much.
Yeah.
But musically, Versus, man, like Dave Ambrisi, I think that's how you say his name, but he brought such an edge and power to that band that, I don't know, they just, it was captured in those two records, because a lot of people don't know that 10, Dave Prusa never toured for 10.
Mm-hmm.
It was Ambrisi from start to finish of their tour as they blew up and everything else. And like the video, now I'm just showing what a nerd I am about Pearl Jam, but
Let it rip.
The
That's
video for Even Flow is Dave. That's not even Dave Cruson. That's Amberisi on drums because they did another take
Oh wow.
for just the video because that's an actually live recording. They didn't want to do lip syncing and all that stuff, so they did a live recording of Even Flow for the video. Hopefully I got that information right, or else.
Nailed it.
But I'm
The
pretty sure
internet
that's how
will
it went.
fact check it.
Have
But-
fun fact checkers.
Yeah, but I think I would say it's between those two. It's verses or 10, and lyrically I would go with 10. Musically, I'd probably go with verses. If I want something that's going to punch me in the chest, I put on verses.
So that brings up an interesting point about 10, the way that was recorded, where Pearl Jam was this rock band that had all the instrumentals, and then they brought in Eddie Vedder to put the vocals over it. Do you think you could ever do it that way, where someone were to provide you, hey Ray, here's all the instrumentals, now go ahead and write the lyrics and put your vocal melodies over it?
I think so. I think that way I could do. I don't think I could do the other way. Actually, no. I could probably guarantee that I couldn't do the other way. I couldn't sing something that I didn't write.
Yeah.
Because
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I would feel. I know I'm not like putting anybody down that has people that write for or anything like that. But I personally would feel like a fake if I was singing somebody else's words.
Yeah.
Like this, because I like to sing of emotion coming from me. So if somebody else wrote it, then how could it come from me? You know what I mean?
You don't have that connection.
And I'm also, to be honest with you, I'm not that great of a singer to be able to just like put this beautiful emotion into the voice with somebody else's words. I have to feel it for that emotion to come out of my voice. I have to actually feel that pain or that anger. So no, I mean, but I think I could write lyrics and sing over other music that's written by somebody else. But I don't think I could do it the other way.
I get that. It's got to feel like your own.
Yeah.
Or you got to figure out a way to make. And there's been great, like Sinead O'Connor. There's people are having the Rock Hall of Fame discussion like they always do because they just announced the nominees. Oasis snubbed again. I don't think Alice in Chains is in either. They snub all the 90 alt rock bands. It's crazy, man.
Oasis is a great band.
But yeah, someone like Sinead O'Connor.
Don't get Ethan started. We talked about them for 15 minutes before you came over.
Oh, really? Yeah, they're good. They're great. They're great.
But yeah, she made that Prince song, Nothing Compares to You, uniquely her own.
Yep.
But like that's like a lightning strike to like be able to pull that off, because we as listeners, we sense when something is disingenuous. Like this is not your own, you know?
Well, I mean, I think sometimes, in a case like that, I think, sometimes the lyrics move. I mean, I could be wrong too, because if you think about it, if you spin that, right, into what we've been talking about, I could contradict myself too, because I could talk about all the other bands that the lyrics move me. So maybe I would be able to sing, if somebody's brought me lyrics that I could connect to, then maybe I would be able to, because like I'm sure in some way those words connected to her, and she was able to bring that emotion out. And like I said, she's also a phenomenal singer. So it makes it easier when you can just sing with such intensity. But maybe the words probably moved her. She probably pulled from that emotion that the words gave her. So,
that's the beauty of it. Something that someone else said and felt could feel so personal that you could recite it, and all of a sudden it's just just you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm wrong.
It
took 5 minutes for
to
me to prove myself wrong.
We're flip flopping.
Right.
Well, we did have a segment a few weeks back, Switch Your Spot,
Yeah.
where I forced Matt to explain to me why Taylor Swift is the most important artist of our generation. And then he explained in great detail why that was true.
It was an awful experience.
He was sweating. He was convulsing. You would have thought I asked the guy to go insult his mother or something like that.
That's a tough one,
It's a good segment. We'll have to do it again, but
maybe for another day.
Yeah.
So with this upcoming run, thinking about the live performances, what aspect of that gets you most excited?
Just playing in front of people. Just get back on the stage again. That's a place that I'm very comfortable. I'm very comfortable being on stage, playing in front of people, and playing music. I'm excited to just get out there and play music again and knock the rust off. And get back at it. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What's it gonna take to get you back at the Foundry?
Just ask us to play.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm asking.
yeah, I mean,
Ethan loves the Foundry.
I love the Foundry. It's just a fantastic
It is.
concert
It
club.
is.
It's such a great place, such a nice vibe. They're always playing something wacky on the TVs there.
I agree. I had no problem. I would play there, tomorrow. So, yeah.
Let's see if they have an opening.
Yeah.
They
We
have
gotta
an
start
opening?
knocking on doors.
Yeah, as long as it's a good, it fits our style, and we'll do it. Yeah, we'll do anything really.
Yeah.
As long as the music's a good fit, we'll play anywhere.
Mhm.
I mean, listen, in Allergic To Whores, we did literally play everywhere and anywhere. So
That's what it takes, though.
yeah, we played in Vermont on someone's back porch. So
Wow.
it was very interesting, but we did it. It was fun.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So with the Warped Tour, gosh, I mean, there must some of the names that you were touring alongside.
Yeah.
Who was there? Well, I mean, just
For
give us
that-
a time capsule here.
Yeah,
So
what years
main
were those?
2002,
Okay.
2001 to 2002.
I think I was at 2002 and 3. I remember those.
So we played Cleveland.
Okay.
We were on the side stage.
Okay.
And
Well, everything about it's a little hazy. So.
yeah, I bet, right?
It was a long time ago.
We started in Bozeman, Montana, and we played all the way across to Boston.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a lot. It was like 3 weeks. We played with AFI. They were the main stage.
Yeah.
Trying to think who else was the main stage. Andrew WK, remember him?
Oh,
yeah.
Was that
Party
name, right?
Hard,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Oh, I bet that was a fun
Yeah.
set.
yeah. So
had
he
to
was
be.
on there. The Used
Yeah.
was another main stage. I can't remember all the main stage. I know Vendetta Red was on there on the small stage, on the second stage. Who else? Letters Kill was on the second stage. A lot of these bands I just remember because like we were, like hanging out with them. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So that's how the only reason I remember them. There's some bad bands, but like there's, I'm trying to think of who else.
I remember the ones that I went to. I saw Offspring.
They were. I don't think they were.
That
on
wasn't.
one.
Maybe that
I
wasn't
don't
that
think
year
so.
then. I know I was in high school, so.
Good Charlotte, I think, was on.
Good.
it.
Okay.
Be fun.
Yeah.
Was that Yellow Card? I think was the
Yes,
last
I
year
think they.
that I went.
Brand New was another one.
Brand
Oh,
new. Yeah.
Brand New was
yeah.
another one.
That's
There's a
such
lot.
great
I mean, there's
album.
so many bands.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
And then there's-
it's all day. It's 8
Yeah,
a.m. or
and-
10 a.m. to 8 p.m. or
Yeah,
10
and then
p.m.
like I know from in Bozeman as we went through, at some point, some of the main stage acts fell off and a new one came in, and then because like at certain
Yeah.
legs of the tour, some bands were in and out, and then on the second stage there was a lot of switching. Like a lot of regional bands would stay in a certain area and then come off and that type of thing. But we were lucky enough to go across the whole country with it.
Yeah,
for
that's
3
awesome.
weeks. Yeah, it was great. It was really cool.
And then didn't y'all? I think you said this before. Y'all toured on the way up to Bozeman.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
why not, right?
Oh, I mean, well, we were touring all the time anyway. So when I told this story, so long story short, we went to. I wanted to get on the Conan O'Brien show.
Oh, cool.
So
Who doesn't?
yeah, and I could. The funny thing is, on the last podcast, I could not remember who booked Conan O'Brien, and then my publicist actually just texted me today and was like, "It was this
Oh.
guy." I'm like, "Oh, that's right." So, I tried to get on that. Long story short, couldn't get on it. I finally got in contact with the guy, and he was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" It was like Allergic To Whores.
Yeah.
Like a super hard punk band is not going to play the Conan O'Brien show. He's like, but it would be a good fit for the Warped Tour.
Yeah.
And here's this guy named Kevin Lyman's
Yeah.
number. And I was like, okay, I don't know who the hell Kevin Lyman is, but I'll give him a call. And then, I'm a dumbass. It was the guy that founded Warped Tour.
Yeah, right.
He's the dude.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I probably should have known that. So I get in contact with him, and same thing. He's like, man, the tour is already booked, dude. Like, maybe next year or whatever. He said, but I will, since you went through all this, jumped through all these hoops and got your CD to me. I'll give it a listen. And like I can't remember the time frame, but it was like maybe the next day or whatever. He called me up and was like, hey, can you be in Bozeman, Montana on this date? I was like, sure can.
Yeah.
I asked no
Yeah.
one because I'm like,
Heck yeah.
if the band says no, we got a problem.
Yeah.
So, so it wasn't like the next day. It was like there was like a month or so because
Yeah.
the Warped Tour had not even started yet.
Okay.
So there was enough time to get ourselves together and we said, hey, we're going to go all the way across the country to Bozeman, Montana. We might as well book some shows and play our way there, play the way up the coast, start there, and then come back. So we did that, and the only thing we didn't do was because we didn't have time, we didn't book from Boston back to Cleveland. So we just had to make that drive all the way back. But at that point in time, we were done. Like that was.
Oh
like,
really?
Yeah.
It was after
the last show. The last show of the Warped Tour.
Wow.
I kind of knew anyways. I wanted to go a different direction with the music, and there was just a lot of tension with the band.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you're literally for however many years in, you know, a van with three people every day, all day. When you come off the road, you're in a practice spot with them writing. Like we never really separated from each other.
Yeah.
You know, it would agitate me when certain people would chew their food a certain way.
Sure.
And I'm like, can you please shut the fuck up? And they're like, yeah, I'm just chewing my food. I'm like, yeah, well, it's really fucking annoying the shit out of me. So it was time for everybody to go their separate ways. And at that point in time, my guitar tech and merch guy and roadie, and he kind of did a little bit of everything. He was a guitar player, and I said, hey man, I'm done with this band, but I want to start another band, which ended up being Kill the Fall. I'm like, would you be interested? And he was like, hell yeah. So we got off, we just drove all the way back to Cleveland, and then we ended up, that's how Kill the Fall started.
Wow.
Like it started, he actually didn't even stay with it. He was on board with it for a short period of time, but you know, whatever, I can't remember the reason, but he had other things he had to do. So he was out, and then a couple guys tried out, stayed with it for a minute or two, and then that dissolved quickly. And then it took about 2 years to get the band line up what I wanted it to be, and then to record a record.
Okay.
So in 2005 is when the first thing came out, which was Immortality Through Ashes.
Wow.
That came out, and it was a big departure from Allergic to Whores. I don't know if you've heard that EP, but it's like kind of a little sludgier, a lot slower compared to Allergic to Whores. And it did not go over with Allergic to Whores fans.
Okay.
Not whatsoever. They, you know, that's when you're a sellout. You guys sound like you're too soft now. It's slow. Because I mean, it was Allergic to Whores was fast.
Yeah.
Like it was just very fast.
It's very traditional punk.
Yeah. Very like we got compared a lot to like Misfits types that type of sound. Just very traditional punk with good hooks and that type of thing. So yeah, we I don't even remember what the question was, but that's the story of Warped Tour and then how Kill the Fall came around. But
that's interesting. Like you start out playing like first wave punk bands like Misfits, and then there was something in you that knew I want to go in a different direction.
Yeah, I think it was just, years of playing it, just kind of like,
I just want to expand a bit.
I just don't want to write the same,
even make it
chords
more
anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and I loved Allergic to Whores. I loved playing in the band. I loved writing, but like it was very, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it was just very fast, catchy hooks, very similar. Every song was the same formula, you know, super fast, really catchy hook, sing along chorus, super fast, sing along chorus, boom, and it's like, how many times did I do that?
Yeah.
I just didn't want to do it anymore. You know what I mean? It kind of pigeonholed myself into a thing, and I wanted to expand on it. And the last EP that Allergic to Whores did had a couple songs where it was slowed down, and I kind of was like, you know what? I don't want to do that. I don't want to like tarnish what Allergic to Whores was doing. I don't want to start going in this other direction and then have it be like, you know, like when Michael Graves sang on the Misfits. It's like, it's not the Misfits.
Yeah, because the fans don't like that either.
Right, exactly.
You're the same band, but now you're doing something totally
different.
different.
So if it's going to be something totally different, why not just start something new?
Yeah.
So that's what, you know, brought Kill the Fall in. And then the good thing about that was I knew going into Kill the Fall, I want to have diversity, so I don't have to pigeonhole myself into that, you know, that certain type of songwriting, right?
Yeah.
You know, fast verse, catchy chorus, fast verse, catchy chorus. So the first thing out of the gate was like a slower, darker, like, you know, really like sludgy type of EP, and then the next full length EP had some fast songs on it, and it had some slower too. So we kept ourselves diverse, and so we can continue to. Now we're at a point where we can do an acoustic record.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
So you've
we're
come
doing
full circle.
whatever we want to do. Now we can do being under Kill the Fall, where I didn't feel like it was like that with Allergic to Whores.
Yeah.
Allergic to Whores is Allergic to Whores had a thing, and that I didn't want to fuck with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wanted to let that be what it was and put that to rest when I was done doing that.
Well, now the cool thing is you have such a body of work from the first Kill the Fall album to now.
Right.
And now you're going to start hitting it really hard with touring and playing
Right.
shows and all of that.
Right.
So that's what fans can expect. A
Yeah.
little bit of everything
Exactly.
across the board.
Exactly,
So that's
yeah.
actually a really good place to be.
And the funny thing is, we talked about that in rehearsal. I was like, hey, well, what do you guys want to do as far as approaching the acoustic songs? Do we stop in the middle of the set and just put the shit down and pick up the acoustic guitar and start playing? Because the drummer is a guitar player too, so he could just come out from behind the set and add, strum along with me, and the bass player could just play bass, or he can, whatever, stay on the drums or whatever. And so we kicked it around, and obviously the answer was we're going to do whatever we want to do because it's our shit. But Allergic to Whores would have never been able to have that conversation of putting playing acoustic songs on stage. You know what I mean? We don't know what we're going to do yet. We haven't decided. We can either do, there's something, and then I talked to the band about, and the publicist too, about, hey, maybe doing a small tour of just the acoustic stuff, because there's more. Like, we could just take our other songs and play them acoustically too, and strip it down and give the fans and give people a totally different vibe on what those songs are. You know what I mean? So we haven't decided yet what we're gonna do. I know one of the songs that are on the acoustic EP, we, as of last night, actually, or Wednesday, 2 nights ago, we were at rehearsal, and we started doing that one as a full band. It sounds pretty cool. Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. So that one will probably be out. Like, if you listen to the acoustic EP, you'll probably hear that riff and that song and the choruses as a full band. So
That's awesome.
we don't know yet. Like, we don't know if we're gonna take time to make a second version of those songs with the drummer and the bass player also on it, or if we're just gonna maybe go out and just tell the guitar player to bring his guitar. I mean, the drummer to bring his guitar, and just all three of us sit up there.
No, that's
light
cool too, to
candles
mix
or
it up
some
on
shit.
each show. So do things a little bit.
And it depends on
differently.
what the maybe it depends on what that crowd wants. If it seems like a more chill, smaller venue, maybe we just play some acoustic stuff. And if it's a venue where maybe it's like a lot of the old punk fans that don't want to hear acoustic songs, we don't want to do them.
That's when we're gonna throw Matt to the pit.
Exactly.
That's my kind of pit. Nice soft acoustic pit.
right.
I love that when you have a song and it's the full band, but then if you were to break it down to just a guy and a guitar, it's still great. It always feels like a good measure of a song. If you just strip all of its parts, you still enjoy it.
I agree. I've been messing around with that with a lot of the songs, and believe it or not, at least for me, believe it or not, like, a lot of them translate to acoustic pretty well.
Yeah.
And if you follow the band, the band, the song "Paper Thin" that was on the 2008 full length, and that was also released as a single, and it's a full band heavy, not heavy, but it's like catchy, like rocks. It's a rock song. That is on the acoustic EP as a just me and a guitar.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Kind of a bonus then.
Yeah, it's definitely because that EP, there's the 2 songs that are on there called Fingerprints and Paper Thin, and those songs originally were written musically a while ago, a long time ago, and they were originally written on an acoustic, and I wanted those 2 songs to be done on an acoustic, just vocals and guitar. And I never did it for whatever reason. Maybe I didn't have the guts to do it back then, and a lot of it was time too. Like, we didn't have time and money to be sitting in a fucking studioed.
Yeah.
So, you know, Ray could do his guitar and
Yeah.
you know, an acoustic and help. You know what I mean? So anytime that we had in the studio, we wanted like to really get these songs down.
Yeah.
And then Paper Thin was also a great song that we played as a full band, and everyone like loved it. We usually ended with it. It was a good, nice little sing along chorus to it, and but so now I put those two out there. So the way they originally were meant to be. I
That's
guess
awesome. It's a great opportunity now
Yeah.
with the other
Yeah.
songs. So
Yep.
it's perfect.
Yeah,
So-
it just feels like the culmination of everything you've learned about the music business, what you've learned about yourself and music. It's all coming together.
Yeah.
it feels like.
Yeah, it's I guess it's called
exciting.
growing up and
Yeah.
and learn,
Yeah.
learning from your mistakes and all the things that everybody preaches about. It's like learn from your mistakes and be better today than you were yesterday and all that type of stuff. And it's I mean, that's all it is. It's life and success isn't really that hard if you really just keep things. I say it all the time, and people probably get sick of hearing about it, but it's discipline and consistency.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you learn from your mistakes, then you're bound to land on your feet and do the right thing and have some success. And obviously, success doesn't mean money. Success is like doing things and feeling good about what you did.
Personal
That's my
accomplishment.
definition of success.
I agree.
Like if I create something and I feel good about it, I'm happy with it, and I look at it and go, yes, that's what I wanted. That's a success to me. It doesn't have to generate. I mean, if nobody listened to it, it would still be a success to me. If lots of people listen to it, I'm very happy, and that's what I want. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I recorded and put it out for a reason. I want as many people to hear it as possible.
Yeah.
But I don't measure that as the level of
It's a
success.
byproduct.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a happy
exactly.
byproduct.
Yeah.
Exactly. And hopefully that's what happens.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Sounds like you're
that's
doing
why we're
everything
trying to
right,
push
yeah.
everything
Yeah.
is I want this. I want people to hear it. I want as many people to hear it as possible. I have some goals of my own, of things that I want to do when it comes to playing shows and touring and stuff like that. So I'd like to be able to reach some of those goals and but at the end of the day, those are just bonus goals.
Yeah.
Right. It's
The
all
goal,
upside.
the goal of creating has already been accomplished.
Yeah.
So I'm very,
That's the
very
most
happy with
important
it.
thing.
Yeah. As
Very
we're
happy with it.
as we're wrapping up here, I'm curious if you have any advice for people that are newer to the music biz and they're trying to create something. Anything that you would pass along?
As far as music business, I don't know. I'm learning as I go right now.
You tell me.
If we were in a time machine back in the day, I could have a lot of advice on how to promote and how to do things. But really, all jokes aside, write from the heart.
Yeah.
Never write anything that you don't mean. And even though things have changed in the music business, the way you approach something is still it's going to breed success, and that is be focused, have discipline, be consistent, and have goals.
Mhm.
And when you have goals, you have to bring them into levels, right? Like your main goal might be way up here, but you have to have these little shelvings of goals and say, okay, today my goal is this, and by reaching today's goal, then that can I can reach my week's goal, and then my month's goal, and then eventually you climb up to that top goal. If you keep doing the
Small
daily,
things,
the
yeah.
weekly, the monthly, every day and every week and every month, eventually you look up and go, oh shit, I'm here.
Yeah, you're there.
Here I
You
am.
have the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the same way with running the gym and opening up, my own business, and it's same as music. It's you just, there'd be times that there'd be one or two people that I'm teaching jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Same way as there's one or two people in the crowd. But like I've said it before on other podcasts, I play for those 2 or 3 people like it was an arena.
Yeah.
I teach those 1 or 2 people like, I'm giving them everything I have.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it just naturally builds, right? But you can't get discouraged and think negative. You gotta always find the positive and just go, okay, we played for 3 people today in Nebraska.
3 more fans.
Exactly. And maybe they'll tell 3 more people, and when we come back, we have 6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And at first, it was like that. It was that slow. Like, we would play places and we'd come back, and the first time there was 5, the next time there was 12.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, let's go. And then all of a sudden, it's like the dam broke.
Yeah.
And we come back and there's 150, and you're like, holy shit. Okay. You know what I mean? But if we would have quit when, things were rough,
Yeah, when
we
3
would have never
people
got
were
there.
and you
Yeah,
got
exactly.
discouraged. Yeah.
And if we didn't give them 100% when those 3 people were there, why would they tell anybody else?
Right.
We suck, right? Like, I mean, why would you, if some band's just like going through the motions and bored, well, then why would you want to talk about that?
Right.
But when we come out and there's 3 people in a crowd and a drummer lights the cymbals on fire and we're fucking going 100 miles an hour and killing it, you're like, hey man, I just saw this band and they were, you wouldn't believe it. It was me and 2 other people and they played like it was the best show ever.
Yeah.
And that's what builds. But that's, to answer the question, that's what you have to do if you're trying to make it in anything, not just music.
Right.
Anything you do, you got to do with the best of your ability and at 100%. Whether it's your job for a company, whether it's you're running a gym, you're running your own business, you're doing a podcast, you're making music, you've got to give it 100% every time. And if you do that, you'll find success. And do it from the heart.
Yeah.
You can't fake it.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
Sure.
I don't know either live or before we started. I know you mentioned you can tell when somebody fakes it.
Oh, for sure you can.
You're like, when someone's not giving it 100% or they don't really believe in what they're doing, and that's why you have to be authentic. I mean, you have to really believe in what you're saying. So write and play from the heart, give 100%, be disciplined, be consistent. Easy recipe for success.
That's pretty
That's
good
awesome.
advice.
Yeah. Another very profound thought from our podcast.
Just a couple bros being profound. We're bro fast.
That's right. There you go, bro.
So before we go, just quick reminder on where people can find you on social media and what's coming next with the single and the album and the touring schedule.
So we're on Instagram at Kill the Fall, and then or myself at Raymon Terry, no D, Raymon Terry. We're on everything: TikTok, YouTube.
We have TikTok dances.
No, not doing that.
Not
yet.
yet.
That's
Until
coming.
the publicist tells you to
Right,
do it.
exactly.
I'm gonna need you to put this out. Ron.
Yeah, it's like, okay, if you want me to. So we're on Instagram at Kill the Fall. We're on TikTok at Kill the Fall, YouTube, and then we have a website, killthefall.net. We're on Spotify and iTunes, Pandora. Those are the 3 major ones. And we have Let It Breathe, that is out now. That's the acoustic single.
Great single.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It just came out a couple days ago.
No, that was came out like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. And then, so we have Let It Breathe, that's out now. And then we have June 5th, Excess of Failure will be the first single in a long time from the full band.
Looking forward to that.
It's
gonna be
That's
cool.
right,
pretty
people.
heavy.
Hit the follow button on Spotify.
Yes.
We got to
Yeah.
follow.
Yes.
You get notified. That's
That's
the important
exactly.
thing.
Yes,
and then you
yes.
find out when the live events are happening
Yep,
too.
100%.
Yeah.
It's key.
And then we're playing next week, May 2nd at WRUW 91.1 FM here in Cleveland, live. And then we're playing June 15th with Death Weapons in Lakewood at the 5 o'clock lounge. So yes,
Awesome.
go to Spotify, hit the follow button, and you'll hear all the new information and all the new singles that are coming.
Yeah. Well, we can't thank you
Yeah,
enough,
thank
Ray,
you.
for
Thank you.
joining us
Thanks for
today and
having me.
talking
Yeah,
to us.
great
It's been a
stuff.
great
All the
time.
profound
yeah.
wisdom and the cool stories.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
if you enjoyed all the profoundness,
There you
you
go.
want to come back, we'll make sure to hold a spot for you. Thanks, y'all.
There you go.
Bye.
Thank you.